Hello, hello. Not sure how many people we have in yet. Give me 1 sec and we'll get this stuff shut down. There we go. Get everything set up. Starting to, there we go. Okay, perfect. Get back here. Starting to, there we go. Hey, hello, Jason. Good to see you too, my friend. It's actually you that speaking with you yesterday that kind of inspired me to do a live stream again. I just had a bit of a hiatus from live streams lately for no other reason other than I've been kind of focused on certain things, and it just hasn't been a huge I guess a huge priority in my life lately. So but I would like to catch up with everybody, so thank you everybody who's here to watch our live stream. I don't have a guest on tonight, but what I have done is I have several cameras set up so we can look at some different projects that I have on the go. Excuse me. Hello, Connor. Thanks for stopping in. I hope everything's going okay at your dad's. Good to see you in here. So yeah, anyways, I know there's a couple other streams going on right now with some more popular people than me, but that's okay. People that count are here. So yeah, we'll go through some different projects, and like no time limit, no schedule tonight. There's like, I literally have nothing written down for tonight other than I have a few projects on the go. So we'll go through a couple of them, and I'm sorry for everybody that's just into freshwater. There's going to be some salty stuff tonight because that's been one of my big projects lately. So like I said, hello, Chevy Fish. Thanks for joining us. Good to see you. That's been kind of my tunnel vision lately. Has been on trying to raise these baby clownfish, and I'm very, very happy to say we've found some success. So I will openly share my success with everybody. Everybody may already know how to do this or not give a shit or whatever, but that's what I'm into right now. So that's what we'll be talking about. And yeah, we'll go from there. So like I said, any questions, anything at all, just let me know, and I'll try to answer them to the best of my ability. Just 1 second. I got to make a couple of people here moderators. Hi, Dragon Lair. Yeah, sorry, man. It's just been busy. So there's a few people that are here like all the time, and just let me make a couple people moderators here. Okay. I think that's good for now. So Dragon Lair, I made you a moderator if I hope you don't mind. Yeah, you're always in here and always have really good things to say and really positive. So I like that stuff. So that's what I want. That's what I want in viewers. People who are positive and want to find solutions and figure out how to do some of these things we do in this hobby. Sometimes books are very, very helpful. They're very helpful for getting the basics of what you're trying to do. But hey, Fish Room Fever, thanks for joining us. Books are great for that. For if you need measurements, if you need to know volumes and whatnot, doses, stuff like that, parameters. But getting your hands in there and actually doing it, or actually seeing how somebody else has done it, I think is invaluable. So that's why I'm very open to sharing all ideas that we can do to maintain our aquariums, have healthy fish, and if we can raise captive bred fish to reduce the impact on the wild. And when I say captive bred fish, I don't mean like shitty fish. I don't mean like we just breed them for the sake of breeding them and put them out there and actually make them not look as good as wild caught, but actually people who spend the time to take certain genetics and put those certain genetics together and keep really quality, if not better than wild caught looking fish. So I'm all for all this kind of stuff we're doing. So that's why I like to lead by example and share a lot of what I found. Now, a lot of tonight's talk is hello, Pugamus Maximus. I think I said that right. Thank you for joining us. So I found with since I have endeavored into breeding clownfish, there is not like if you're talking about like breeding guppies, there's way more information on breeding guppies, 100 times, 100-fold, maybe 1,000-fold the information about breeding guppies as there is for breeding clownfish. A is just because not as many people do it, and B, guppies are pretty easy to breed compared to clownfish. Not taking anything away from serious guppy breeders that do genetic modifications and line breed and show guppies. That takes skill, that takes talent, that takes really knowing your stuff and really having a ton of patience. So I'm not taking anything away from that, but I'm just saying just to breed the fish is much more difficult, and there's not as many people that own clownfish as they do guppies. Some of those reasons being is that you can generally only keep 2 clownfish to a tank, or they will more than likely fight, and because they're violent little buggers, and where you could keep 40 guppies in a 20-gallon tank, no problem. So there's certain reasons. But that being said, there's a lot of information that was like all over the place. So I tried to take the stuff that really made sense to me and the stuff that I could look at and say, okay, yes, I see how that can work. And I try to implement that. And so far, I'm proud to say we are on day 7 of hatching clownfish larvae, and everybody is looking great. So I'm going to share the screen with them right now. There we go. We might even be able to, oh, that's better. So there they are. I have a remote camera on the clownfish larvae tank, and actually that turns out pretty good. This has been one of the most difficult to film because and get any type of great footage of them is because my water is always murky. I never have clear water in this tank. It's murky from a lot of green water, and I've used a lot of green water to do this. But I think this has been one of the keys to success. I don't know if a moderator could possibly throw it up in the chat. My last video I did of hatch to day 6 clownfish rearing. I think I actually did a pretty good job at putting a tutorial together from what you need to do from hatch night to day 6 in breeding these little guys. The way I've done it anyways, and I can say if you use just basic saltwater common sense and follow the tutorial that I did, you will get them to this stage. Most accounts, a lot of YouTubers that have done videos on rearing clownfish, they all talk about significant losses even before getting to metamorphosis. I have not experienced that. I still have between 100 to 150 fry in that tank. What you're looking at right now in that video is just a very, very small portion of a 7-gallon tank. You can actually see the heater in the back, and that's not a very big heater. It's just zoomed in quite a bit. So yes, HC Aqua, there's tons and tons and tons, much less for clownfish by far. Quite frankly, to try, like, I'm breeding designer clownfish, so to manipulate those genetics, I don't even know what genetics I have, because it's I think it's a crapshoot when you start blending different designer genetics together. So we'll see what happens. Hello, 808 Tank. Welcome. Thanks for joining us. Again, HC Aqua, thank you. Thanks for joining us. Oops. Yeah, Chevy Fish makes a great point. As much as people don't want to do it or don't want to accept it, if you do not do this, we'll be really unhappy in this hobby for people that have a bit of an eye for detail for fish, because they will just they'll generally just disappear. Yeah, it's a pretty cool experience. There's a lot of, and I'll talk about that a bit too once I get caught up on the chat a bit, HC Aqua. There's a lot of prep work, and I'm usually not a very prepped up person, but for this instance, I did a ton of prep work. And a beautiful thing about them is when your clownfish start laying eggs, that if you keep things the same and whatnot, they will keep laying eggs. So mine lay eggs so often. I got to, on the guys you're looking at here, I got to day 4 after they hatched, and I had a new batch of eggs in the tank already. So even if I had messed these up, I'd have another chance within a week to get them going again. Yes, they are. They are saltwater clownfish. Thank you, Jason. Appreciate it. Ooh. Hello, GBR Aquatics. Thanks for joining us. I hope I don't bore you too much. It'll probably be a lot of clownfish talk tonight, but I do have other stuff to talk about too. But that's just been my focus lately. Yeah, it's not easy. It's not overly hard though either. It's not like you can't figure it out hard. It's not like it's mentally hard. It's physically hard, and it's kind of an eye for detail thing. And it's, I don't know about you guys, but maybe I'm a bit lazy. But like sometimes when, say with other types of fish you're breeding, say bristlenose plecos, if I miss a day of siphoning a bit of the crap out of the bottom of the tank, not going to be a big deal. If I don't do a 20% water change every day, not going to be a big deal. If you don't do that when you're breeding baby clownfish, it's a big deal, and they will not make it. They will not make it whatsoever. Valley Fish, sorry I missed you up here. Thank you for joining us. Yeah, so it is. It looks almost exactly like the tank that's in your picture, Streetwise. And welcome to the stream. I don't know if that's a 7-gallon tank, but that looks just like it actually. I already got her, but thank you. Yeah, thank you, GRB Aquatics. I really enjoyed making that video because a few people have mentioned to me that that they don't come out very often for them. And since I made some changes in that tank, and the changes I made was I got the geophagus out of there. As soon as I got the geophagus out of there, they're out constantly. I just having a look. They're not out right now, but if I drop a pinch of food in there, there will be 3 of them out there. Yeah, it was actually really fun to make that video because you don't see a lot of really nice, clear videos of them. So I've been trying out my 4K camera, but the problem is my my editing program that I have, it only does it in it doesn't go as far as 4K. I think it's only 1080p, so that's the best I can get out of it. Hello, Fish Tropic. Welcome. Welcome. We're just talking about clownfish and stuff. I think almost everybody on here is a moderator. But so yeah, they're pretty steady. They seem to be extremely steady. Even so, for your hatch times are extremely consistent as well, as long as all your tank parameters stay consistent. They're doing great. They're still growing out. Feel like we can focus on them. Actually, I have a camera that I can set up on them. You just won't see my ugly mug, but we'll have a look at them in just a little bit here, Dragon Lair. But they're doing good. They're still growing. Some of them are closing in on 3 inches. They're all between, say, body size, not including the tail. They're all, I'd say, between 2 and 2.75 inches. So they should be breeding very soon. Their colors, again, they've kind of faded out a bit, but it's still there. They're still beautiful. So we'll let them breed and see what comes out of them. Yeah. So your 16-gallon, this one is the exact same idea, but only 7-gallon. I'd just maybe be better with a 10-gallon tank doing it just for a bit more water volume, but that's just what I happen to have. So that's what I used. Yeah, they're not quite as difficult as some people might think. As you could pretty much fix everything with salt, like really. Really, yeah, almost everything that can go wrong with your saltwater tank, you can pretty much fix with salt. Just a water change and new salt, and that's what I found. Anyways, I keep it pretty simple, stupid, because I don't know a whole lot about saltwater, but I know enough about water chemistry to keep things in check. So yeah, you could do a nano tank. Like you can even put a clownfish in a 10-gallon tank. It'll be fine. Honestly, clownfish, where are we here? Never leaves a space this big in a tank. That's all you need, honestly. If I got industrialist enough to set up a clownfish breeding tank, I'd probably take like a 55-gallon and split it into 6 sections. I would split it so it was like water could pass through with mesh, but just with mesh dividers. And yeah, like that's all the space they need. They don't need much space. It's water quality. So as long as you can maintain good water quality and good flow, they'll do well. Yeah, I haven't gotten into coral. I've stayed away from coral. Actually, I've just been live rock, a couple of anemones, and fish. Right? It's that's like the coolest thing. I love watching. I just sit there and watch all the crap that lives in live rock. Like there's a lot of organisms that live in live rock. I found out I have a lot of bristleworms in my tank. I got a ton of bristleworms. I actually got rid of quite a few of them. But yeah, I got a lot of bristleworms. I got a pistia. I got all kinds of bad stuff. I got bubble algae. Like I got everything they say or not you shouldn't have in your tank, but it doesn't seem to really be bothering anything. And everybody seems great and healthy in there. But if I had corals, yeah, I'd ruin it. I'm not careful enough with it for corals at all. One thing I will say is my main tank has been like never had better water in it because I use the water out of that tank to do my water changes into the clownfish, baby clowns tank you're looking at on the other side of the screen of me. And so it's been getting water changes every single day. It's never had so much attention. So, and now I'll put this. We'll take the babies off for a sec. Oh, shit. Let's cut it out. But you can see a tank just with the air stone in it there. That tank there, I'm getting cycled for a grow out tank for those baby clowns. I bought a filter for it. I got the box right there. Give me one sec. I'll grab the box because it looks kind of neat. So I don't know if we can see this. Get back far enough. This is what it is. It's an aqua top. And it's only rated for 25 gallons. I kind of wanted one that was rated for like 40 or 50 gallons because I want a lot of flow. I'm going to have a lot of babies in there. But hello, Susan. Good to see you. Hi, Sandy. Good to see you. See if I missed anybody there. I think we got everybody. But oh, JH Aquatics, hello and welcome to the stream. We got lots of stuff to talk about tonight. I haven't been on in a long time, so I'm getting through the chat and adding a little bit of extra to it, I guess we'll say. So yeah, I'm setting up this breeder tank, but they didn't have any of this filter with that was any bigger than this. So I thought about getting two of them, but I just got one. But the interesting thing is it's got a UV bulb in it, UV light. It's got a little bit of room. I put some live rock in the filter just to help. And I also put in water. Pretty much I give it a slight water change, but mainly water from my main display tank. Went in to get this started. So hopefully that seeds it. But this filter apparently has a little protein skimmer in it. So we'll try it out, see what it's like. I don't have a review on it yet because I just got it. So, but anyways, we're getting that tank ready because but close to another 2 weeks, I guess, and I'll be needing it. Sorry, I'm just gonna go through a little bit of the chat. Yeah, exactly. So, whoops. If you're not doing hard corals, I literally mix salt water up in 5 minutes, like Streetwise says. It's pretty easy. Hardest part is keeping, for me lately, since I've been doing a lot more saltwater stuff. I can't keep up on RO water. I got to get a better RO system is what I need. I cannot make enough RO water for all my shrimp, for my freaking L128 tank, for all the salty stuff that's going on. It's getting hard on it. It's running like 24/7. So I want to get one with a nice pump in it for the booster pump and see if we can bump things up a bit. Yeah, there you go. And if you keep good water quality, they won't do poorly in a tank that size. Sorry, getting all caught up here. Where my banana? I don't know what you're talking about. Who else? Oh, Mr. B. Hello, Mr. B. Good to see you. Okay, we're all caught up on chat. So, yeah, this other tank you see on this picture beside me, that tank is a 55-gallon with New Guinea red rainbows and also some barbs. There's some tiger barbs and there's some Odessa barbs in there. And it is just, that thing's growing out of control, man, with guppy grass and moss and hornwort. It's crazy. It's crazy what's growing in that tank. So if you have any ideas what to do with that tank, let me know, because I got to do something. I want to try to maybe keep that stuff off to the sides or something. Maybe I can plant the middle of it a bit, or I don't know. It's just a jungle mess right now. So yeah, it's that's where that tank's at. It's not making me too happy right now. Yeah, it is hard on water. Yeah, it's really hard on water. I feel bad too. I feel bad for my water bill, how much I do. But yeah, not much more I can do about it. My water is so freaking hard here. If it wasn't so hard, I would recycle it, run it through again, or use it for cichlid tanks. My old RO unit, I could, because it was really inefficient, and the water that came out of it wasn't. It was like 460, 480 ppm was the wastewater. So I would just use that for my African cichlids, right? But this one's much more efficient. But my water comes out at close to 700 ppm, the wastewater. So I'm not recycling that for nothing. That's polluted, man. That's bad water. Yeah, not much I can do with that. So it just goes down the drain, unfortunately. Very good. Very good. Hopefully they're growing good for you. Keep feeding them lots of nutritious green stuff. And any of them have any horns on them yet? They were pretty small. They probably won't yet, but possibly. Depends how good you've been feeding them. But I doubt it. Too young. Salmon rainbows. Okay. And where are they? Australian rainbow dragon lair, or are they a New Guinea rainbow? Because mine here in this picture are New Guinea rainbows. Oh, we're all caught up here. Nothing visible yet. Yeah, it'll take them a little bit still. They take a bit, especially the green dragons. I find they take a little bit longer to develop their horns. You might go up to 6 months before they do. Yeah, there might be some rainbow eggs in that tank. To be quite honest with you, I don't even look. But I doubt there is any rainbow eggs in there, because those barbs clean up on them pretty fast. I'm sure there's been barb eggs in there, but like that moss is like super, super thick. The side that's kind of cut out a little bit on that picture. Maybe I can go solo layout. Yeah, as you're looking at it, the right-hand side, that's super, super thick Christmas moss. On the other side, it's super, super thick guppy grass, and then hornwort on top of it, and then water lettuce on top of it. So, yeah, it's pretty loaded up. It's thick, but if they hatch, they would get eaten pretty quickly due to the fact that there is many young Odessa barbs in there that will pick up on it pick them off pretty quickly. So I'm just going to change this mic here. So we'll add this to the stream. Take that out. So there's our rack. This is the other side of the fish room. So yeah, there's the rack. For I don't know how many we have in here that's never seen the rack before. Yeah, so if we start up at the top left, I think it's your left if it's my left looking at it. Yeah, it'd be your left. So the very top left, that is my longfin Ancestress breeding tank. It's a 30-gallon custom tank. Just gets straight tap water, pH of like 8.2. Well, welcome and thank you very much. Hope you enjoy the stream. So yeah, there's about seven fish in that tank. Just run with a sponge filter, and that's all run with a air loop system. So right beside that tank is my Emica Splendens tank. So far, I haven't had any spawn out of that tank. But yeah, there's a ton of Christmas moss in there. It's just growing out naturally now. Again, just straight tap water, pH of like 8.2 to 8.4. And yeah, like 400 ppm. So they like that water. The Ancestress do just fine with that water as well. So if we go to the middle left, that is my multifasciatus tank. I've sold quite a few out of there as of late. I'm down to probably like 25 fish in there. And yeah, they're doing just fine there. And beside that tank is the shark tank. It's a Lego shark, a little Disney ship in there from Frozen. And there is a crab in there too, a Lego crab as well. Quite heavily planted, and it is, what is it? It's a Black King Kong shrimp tank. So yeah, it's a pretty unique little tank. There has been quite a few changes around here. They're not that visible on this rack, but there has been some changes. So if we go down to the bottom left, that's a big change. That tank's been pretty much cleared out. There's just I have some future longfin Ancestress breeders in there, and there is some cribs, some young cribs that aren't large enough to send for sale yet. And right beside that tank, that is something not new but added to. So that tank there is these on the bottom rack. These are both 65-gallon talls. So the one on the right, it's actually a Parasite nigrinus breeding colony. They're still young, a lot of young females. And I just picked up a lot more females. I just picked up 6 more females. So hopefully they start taking off. I have gotten a couple of fry from them, but that's it. And also there's green dragon Ancestress short fin in this tank as well. Now, if you off to the left, you can only see a little piece of it, but off to the left, that's my 90-gallon Ancestress grow out tank. That's all it's in that tank is a ton of baby Ancestress, short fins, long fins, green dragons, albinos, browns, you name it, they're in there. Thank you, Susan. Thank you. It was a lot of trial and error so far. We're still not out of the woods yet. We haven't made it past metamorphosis yet, but all accounts being told to me from things I've been reading and watching is if you go into metamorphosis healthy, you should come out of it just fine. So I think where a lot of people have had problems with raising their clownfish through metamorphosis is that they weren't all that great before they went into metamorphosis. They were either malnutritioned or poor water quality or problems that have been sustained through having poor nutrition and poor water quality, possibly not enough rotifers when they were younger, possibly rotifers not enriched enough or enriched with the right phytoplanktons and additives. So there are a lot of things to look at, but yeah, so far we've been very diligent, been a lot of forward thinking, I think, as well on this. And yeah, if you haven't seen the tutorial on raising baby clownfish to day 7, check it out. I put a lot of really good information in there. I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but I am very proud of the publication because I do believe it did turn out well, other than some really corny music, but not much you could do about the corny music sometimes. So if we go to the next rack, we'll start in the left-hand top corner of the next rack. That's just a extra plants tank, and there are 4 female black metallic guppies, females in there, and a few baby ancestors growing out as well. Right in the middle of the top rack, that is my Red King Kong Caridina tank. And to be quite honest with everybody, that tank has not done well lately. I've had some pretty big losses in that tank. I couldn't figure out why. I don't know. I've gone through the list of ideas. I've tested and tested again. I've offered it the exact same foods. I've offered every other tank. Yeah, I don't know why, but there was something in that tank that they just did not like. Something in the water possibly that they did not like, or maybe it's something over time has built up and they did not like. I'm not sure, but I couldn't find it. I couldn't find an issue. I just kept doing water changes, and hoping that the death would stop. And knock on wood, I believe the death has stopped for the time being. It seems to be stable again, but yeah, it wasn't doing that well. But hopefully it comes back. I believe I saw a buried female in there, so that would be great because their numbers dwindled quite a bit. So the tank on the right side of that one, that is just like a lot of excess mutt guppies. There are my black metallic males in there. I think there's 4 or 5 males in there. And these are my special young longfin ancestress that have a little tint of blue in them. They're a bit of a special project I've been working on. Many of you know about it. I've talked about it lots. If you don't know about it and you want details about it, you can look back through my live streams, and I have actual videos about it as well. It's pretty cool. It's a project that's been ongoing for quite a long time. So yeah, down the next side, the 10-gallon on the left-hand side of this rack, that's a grow out tank, like a hatch tank for Odessa barbs. It's literally full of guppy grass, actually full of it. There's a few Odessa barbs in there still that actually on the top rack right side, there's Odessa barbs and they're growing out as well. That's where I've been putting them from this tank here. But I might go a different direction with that tank soon. Now, these other tanks you guys see, these cubes on this rack, these are all like 21-gallon cubes. They work very well for space saving. They're ugly as hell, but they work very, very well for saving a little bit of space. So right beside that 10-gallon tank, on the middle rack, in the middle, that is my crystal red Caridina shrimp tank, and it has actually done extremely well. I've sold a lot of shrimp out of there, and I probably still have 250 shrimp in there. So it's done extremely well. It's nothing to look at, but it's been very good for productivity. And beside that tank on the far right side, middle rack, I don't even have that tank loaded with shrimp yet. It's ready. It's ready for Caridina, and there is a couple of crystal reds in there that got in there somehow. I don't know if they jumped from the other tank and crawled in there or what, but there's like 3 of them in there. So they will come out and go back into the crystal red. I believe I may put my blue bolt culls in this tank and see what they breed, see what comes out of them. So going to the bottom rack on the left hand side, that's tank's pretty much empty. There's a couple of ancestress babies in there, but it's mostly guppy grass and moss in that tank. Nothing going on in it right now. Beside that tank in the middle bottom row, that is my Blue Bolt Caridina tank. Again, 21-gallon cube. That tank's actually doing quite well. It's not overly populated. There's probably 100 shrimp in there, but there are some really neat colors coming out of it. So I keep watching that one. Now, the tank beside that is pitiful looking right now. There's algae growing everywhere. This is the one that you guys helped me put together, and I really haven't been doing much with it. There is a bunch of Caridina shrimp in here of all different kinds, but I haven't done much with it other than basically feed it and water changes. I've let the algae grow, and I've just kind of let it go wild, see what happens with it. It looks pretty cool other than the algae all over the mosses, but other than that, it looks good. So, yeah, that's what's going on with that rock. There we go. Anybody have any questions about anything on the rack? Thank you, moderators, for putting all that stuff up for me. It's very nice of you. Yeah, so yeah, lots of things going on. Not a lot on that rack, but I have made some huge changes to. I've made some huge changes to my 180-gallon tank. Huge changes. It's empty. There's essentially not many fish in it. The only fish that are left in the 180-gallon tank is my very large frontosa male and a couple of plecos, and there's one little baby Mapenga travasi in there. I don't know how the little bugger is still in there. So it's been emptied. Fish have all been sold out of it. And I'm currently looking for some more female frontosas. I could have taken a couple. I could have got a couple, but I can't. I cannot just put 2 females in that tank. If I put just 2 females in that tank, that male's just going to have it. And they weren't that big. They were like 4 inches at best. So if I had put 2 4-inch females in the tank with him, he would have killed them both. It just would have happened. If I'm going to go with 4-inch females, I'd rather go with like 5 or 6-inch females. If I'm going to go with those sizes, I'm going to need at least 8, 9 females to keep him at bay, to spread the aggression out a bit. Because, yeah, if he starts picking on one female, she'll be toast. That's the one problem with having one very large male frontosa. You have to have fairly large females with them, too. Thank you. It's I guess it's because I keep everything so it doesn't need a lot to be maintained, because I really haven't done a lot with the rack lately. Nope, Sandy, they're just your run-of-the-mill straight up Burundis. Or Burundi, I only have the one. So nope, just Burundis. Wasn't after anything special. I just want and that's all I want in there. I just want Frontoses in there. A couple of plecos that are in there can stay in there. Tonight's podcast brought to you by Budweiser. Even though Budweiser doesn't give me any money. Yeah, it's hard to find just females. The problem is if I put a male in that tank, it's probably going to be big problems. Probably going to be pretty big problems. He won't put up with another male in that tank. He didn't even want to put up with an 8-inch Venustus in that tank. I won't tell your friends, HC. I won't tell your friends. Cheers back. But anyways, yeah. So for that stuff, that's what we got going on over here lately. It's been tunnel vision on these baby clownfish, and yeah, learning a lot of stuff. Yeah, that's about it. It's been taking a lot of my time. The care I've put into these things is incredible compared to trying to breed other kinds of fish. It's way different care level on a way different way different level. The care level is way up there in the fact of just manual labor. Just it's a lot of labor. Now that they're pretty much off rotifers, you can see them swimming around there and eating. I did feed them some powdered food just before we went live, but there are still a lot of rotifers in that tank. And oh, you see one there, just go for them. Yeah, they're ferocious appetites. They never stop eating. So if you want to raise baby clowns, try to keep 1 million rotifers in the tank. Yeah, that would be neat if they could tolerate each other. I've had a 100-gallon tank full of wild-caught Kikomas in the past. They weren't overly tolerant of other fish, but that'd be a cool setup if they could all get along in that setup. I know Brian well. I had Brian on as a guest on my podcast. But yes, by all means, everybody go check Brian out. He does some pretty neat stuff with his shrimp. He's got some good ideas. I like people who have good ideas and are willing to share their ideas. Do you still feed clowns rotifers, or have they graduated? So, yes, I still have rotifers in that tank. Not as heavy as I did earlier, but I still have them, and the reason I still have them is because they, I guess, fill in the gaps now. So I have graduated them onto powdered food. I've actually been making it with this pepper mill here and powdering it, pulverizing it. And I now have like 5 different types of food in there. I got whole krill. I got everything in there. We'll go through that a little bit, actually. It's pretty important. So I've done my best to try to give them the most nutritious diet I possibly can. And I've also been feeding them like 6 times a day. So in between those 6 times a day and overnight, I still keep rotifers in the tank, even though I'm using a sponge filter now. So that gets hard on the rotifers because they start. I think my cat was playing with my light cord there because they start getting too big for the rotifers, and the rotifers get sucked in the sponge filter when you switch over to a sponge filter, which I did yesterday. Up till then, it was just an air stone. But if you don't enrich the rotifers with good enrichment food, you might as well not feed them because they won't have a lot of nutritional value. So I had to buy rotifers originally, and I actually had to import them from California, from Reed Mariculture. And I'll tell you, to be quite honest, living in Canada, that was a pain in the ass. That was a really, really big pain in the ass. Customs and everything else to get these live rotifers in. I'm glad I did it because they're essential. If you don't have rotifers, you will not raise baby clowns. So after you've originally purchased them, they will multiply on their own. They will. You give them the right conditions, they will breed. They will multiply themselves every day. You could essentially do a 30 to 40% harvest daily, and you will never catch up with them. As long as you keep them fed, they have to have continual phytoplankton green water. What I use for my phytoplankton and enrichment for anybody that doesn't know, rotifers are like super tiny bugs in saltwater. So these super tiny bugs are the only first food in captivity that clownfish babies will actually accept. But the rotifers themselves have like zip for nutritional value. So you have to feed them food with great nutritional value to enrich them so that they're essentially a delivery service for the nutrients that you're feeding the rotifers into the clownfish, if that makes any sense at all. So they lose their nutritional value within an hour and a half of not consuming enrichment or food. So that's why you keep green water, and that's why I keep green water in their tank. I'm not so much on the green water now. I'll give a little dose before I go to bed, but that makes sure it sustains them overnight. Sorry, trying to catch. Oh, wow. That's crazy. I haven't started it yet, but I am going to start throwing some fresh hatch baby brine at them too. There's a little method to my madness of not giving them the baby brine shrimp like right away, like say on day 5 or day 6 or even now. I wanted them to eat dry food, powdered food first, so they didn't get picky and only accept brine shrimp, because there is more nutritious things out there than brine shrimp. Brine shrimp's a great additive, but I would like more feedings than just brine shrimp. A lot of krill, and a little top secret stuff here. Brewer's yeast. You need a little bit of brewer's yeast in your feed. I read an interesting article. I forget what university wrote it, but they did a test on breeding clownfish babies and everything. And the clownfish babies that had brewer's yeast as a regular part of their meals had much better immune systems and faster growth rates. So I'm implementing that. And one food that does have brewer's yeast in it is actually Hikari First Bites. Yeah, so they are 7 days old now. Those are 7 days old. They're just coming into metamorphosis. Thank you. Yeah, they're neat. They're like little monsters going through with their mouths opening. Hello, Bennies. Welcome. Fishonic. Welcome. I think Big Al's has it. Someone might be able to correct me here, but I'm pretty sure Big Al's has it. Pretty sure. I don't know if Mike has it. I don't recall seeing it. So I'm not 100% sure, but I am pretty sure that Big Al's has that. Yeah, so most of them do have an expiry date, and yes, you can put them in the refrigerator. The freezer is actually better. If you're not going to use them, keep them in the freezer, and they tend to stay much fresher. I've used them long past expiry dates, and they've worked just fine. Maybe I had a slight percentage less of a hatch rate, but not noticeable enough to be too worried about it. Is there a Big Al's in Kitchener? I'm not sure. I don't think so. Is there? I guess Hamilton, Toronto, or Barrie's where you would have to go to. I guess Hamilton's not too far away from you. So, anybody got any more questions about anything on the rack or anything else going on? Has anybody else here tried breeding clownfish? Just waiting to see. I guess my stuff's slow for seeing stuff in the chat. It's all very, very slow. But yeah, I'd be interested in picking someone's brain who's been successful at breeding clownfish, because I have actually never talked to someone who's actually been doing it. Salt water out of your budget, eh? Yeah, it can be expensive. I think my dog or cat's messing with the cord here. Roscoe's here beside me, chilling out. Yeah, HC Aqua, they would have. Yeah, you have to pull them. So watch my video on it. That'll give you those answers. You definitely do pull them. One cool thing about them is that they're very predictable. So they're very consistent and predictable. So when I know when to pull the eggs now, and I'm new at this, man. I haven't done it a lot. I've literally watched the process 3 times now. So yeah, I can tell when hatch night's going to be, and I pull them just a couple hours before they'll hatch, and they always hatch at night, and they always hatch like within 2 hours after the light's going out. They need complete darkness, but very predictable. And if you don't pull them, everything will eat them. They'll get sucked up the filters, everything. One little sting and you're out, eh? I got nailed by a bristleworm when I first started putting my live rock in. I have 2 anemones. I haven't gotten hit by them yet. I've been pretty careful. One's actually like gotten really big. One of these nights I'll put a camera on that tank and live stream that tank, because it's pretty neat to watch. I don't know, the anemone, when it's feeling good, it stretches out. Now its tentacles are out at least 6 inches. Um, but yeah, I wear rubber gloves anytime I'm around it. And there's usually clownfish around it too, and they're actually the reason why I wear rubber gloves, because the clownfish attack me, they bite me, so I wear rubber gloves so it don't hurt. They like rip parts off of my scrub brushes. Yeah. So there's a neat little item called it's a rotifer collector, essentially. So if people don't want to pull the fry, they use this rotifer collector inside the tank, and apparently it does a pretty good job of uh, of collecting them. Um, but I prefer to just take them right out of the tank if you're trying to breed them. I see your comment down here that you're not trying to breed them. I understand that. If you were trying to breed them, I think you're better off just taking them straight out of the tank, putting them in the hatch tank, and having the enriched rotifers ready to eat as soon as they hatch. And I think they do way better than sitting in a rotifer collector all night long with no food. I know they do have a yolk sac on them, but yeah, it's I think it's better just to pull them. Yeah, that sucks. It looks like it would hurt. I could tell you all the other fish other than the clownfish don't like going near it. I'm pretty sure Paul the pufferfish got nailed by it when I first put the clownfish and the anemone in there. He yeah, went right after the clownfish. Clownfish went straight for the anemone. I think the anemone nailed him, and he's never gone near the clownfish ever since. So maybe that was a good thing. It didn't seem to affect him that badly. And yes, they do bite. They're violent little fish. Sorry, not a rotifer collector. I probably said that. That's incorrect. A larvae collector. Larvae collector. I apologize for that. I'm glad you said that, actually. It collects the larvae out of the tank if you're not there to pull the rock or whatever. So what I did, because mine kept breeding on mine kept breeding on the biggest rocks in my tank. The biggest pieces of live rock that I had in my tank, they would lay their eggs on. So for this batch that you guys are looking at here, that rock that they were their eggs were laid on was like 25 pounds. I literally pulled it out, put it in a huge tub with salt water in it because it's still got the eggs on it. I had to be careful. And I took a sledgehammer and a freshly sharpened chisel, and I had to beat the living hell out of that to break it. And I broke it into 3 pieces, and I put because I couldn't fit it into the hatch tank the way it was. It was so big. So what I've done now is I actually fit a 4-inch clay terracotta pot in underneath the anemone where they usually like to lay their eggs, and voila, we have eggs inside the pot now. So now I just have to take the terracotta pot out and put it in the hatch tank. So I'm actually going to be overlapping with hatch tanks here. Like I'm literally going to have to get another hatch tank going. So I may steal one of those 10-gallon tanks off of that rack there for another hatch tank, because yeah, they won't be out of this tank in time for the next ones to go in. Yeah, I guess once bitten, twice shy. Yeah, they're just territorial. They're territorial and just got a bit of a bad attitude about anybody coming near their shit, I guess. So while cleaning my tank, the back part of my arm brushed up against my anemone. I yanked my arm out so fast from the jolt that some tentacle stuck to my arm. Learn to be super careful after that. Yeah. Yeah, I've been close a couple of times. And did you put those tentacles back in the tank? And did they grow into new anemones? I've been waiting for my anemone to split. There's nothing, I don't know much about anemones other than I feed them shrimp mainly, sometimes mussels, and they're growing, but everybody talks about them splitting and whatnot, and I'm not going to cut them in half. Some people talk about cutting them in half. I'm not going to do that. That doesn't look like fun. I don't know if they feel pain, if they're an intelligent enough animal to feel pain or anything, but I still don't want to start cutting them in half to get them to split. I'd really like them to do it all by themselves, how they're supposed to. So if anybody has any tips on that, I'd like to hear them, because it's a beautiful rainbow bubble tip anemone, and I'd love to get a couple more off of it. I have lots of room in my tank for them. It's not a very highly stocked tank at all. Yeah, that is how more tanks happen. Thank God I have spares, because I don't want any more tanks now. I am literally at my maximum that I can handle right now for tanks. I can't. Workload's actually starting to pick up now for actual what I do for a living workload, so that's good, because that's been slow through all this stuff, but that's picking up now. So I have to be very careful in the summertime. I'm very, very busy, not to get too much projects on the go. So no more tanks for this guy. But anyways, everybody, we're over an hour now, and this was kind of an impromptu stream, and I do appreciate everybody for chiming in the chat and helping us out and getting caught up with each other again. I am sorry I haven't live streamed in some time, but sometimes I just need a break. I actually get stressed out doing live streams. They actually stress me out a little bit. There's something I love about an edit button when I can edit stuff compared to going live, but live is very organic. Live is very, it's not real. It's not real. We're not face to face real, but I guess it's about as real as we can get to try and share some ideas. That's why I enjoy going live with a guest most, because I can sit here and bounce my ideas off you guys all you want. You guys are limited to chat. You're limited to how fast you can type, and it's probably going to break up the conversation a bit, because you can't type as fast as the conversation is going generally. So it gets interrupted and chopped up a bit. Whereas when you have a guest, it's a constant flow of information and ideas back and forth. And that's what I do like doing. So I think I'm going to actively pursue guests again. And yeah, it's I don't mind once in a while doing a solo live stream, but I do feel like I'm talking to myself a lot. I am doing all the talking, and yeah, I don't like to always do all the talking. So it's neat to have a guest on that you can play off of, so to speak. But anyways, enough about that, and we will live stream some more. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing the babies there. I'm sorry I can't zoom any better than that with a camera. I have to use that camera as a guest camera. That camera is 3 floors away from us right now. It's upstairs in my walk-in closet, actually, and we're in the basement. So that's the one neat thing about it, is you can do it remotely. And I think it worked pretty good. So that was pretty neat. So everybody, enjoy the rest of your night. Stay safe. and happy fish keeping until next time. Bye for now.